Hello friends and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm making something simple, useful and a little bit special. I'm designing a round wall-mounted headphone stand, and to give it some personality, I'm adding a mandala design right on the face of it. We'll take a mandala image, we'll convert it into SVG using Inkscape, bring it into Fusion 360 and turn it into something functional and beautiful. As always, I'm trying to keep this beginner friendly, and if you've never worked with Inkscape, don't worry, this is a very simple step-by-step tutorial and it's really just a couple of steps in Inkscape. So let's jump right into it and see how we're gonna design this headphone stand. So here we are in Fusion 360 and we are going to start everything with a sketch. And I want to start my sketch on this plane, on the bottom plane. And I'm simply going to start with a circle at 100 millimeters. Now I can already finish this sketch and I want to extrude this circle up about 40 millimeters. But if I just extrude it like this, that's going to be just a cylinder. And the headphones are not going to sit very well here. So what I can do is I'm going to create another sketch and I'm going to make it onto this plane. And onto this sketch, I want to take a straight line going from the bottom of this cylinder. And I'm going to go all the way up. So 40 millimeters. And from there, I'm going to take a feet point spline. And I'm going to take the top point. I'm going to take somewhere in the middle another point. And I'm going to go all the way down to this point. And that will create me a profile. So let's hide this body for a second. And we can choose this profile. We can make the body visible again. And once we have that profile, we can say finish sketch. And we can just simply revolve that profile according to this Z-axis. So let's click that. And as you can see, it's just going to cut from that body a section that we've selected. And that's going to give us a very nice shape where the headphones can rest. So we're pretty much done with that. Let's have a quick look at how we're gonna get an image on top of this. In my case, it's gonna be a mandala because my wife loves mandala and this headphone stand is for her. And you can go to the internet, you can find any type of mandala or any type of image if you want to. And we're just gonna have to open Inkscape. And when we open Inkscape, we simply have to drag our mandala on to Inkscape. That's going to give us a pop-up window and we're just going to say OK. And there is our mandala, and what I want to do now is just go to pop and trace bitmap. And what that does is Inkscape is going to create a copy of this one, but it's going to create just the outline. So let's click apply. And as you can see, I can drag the copy on top of the old one. And I can just delete the old one. And I have an outline basically. So from here, I'm just going to export. And I want to make sure I export it in plain SVG. And just make sure you remember where you saved it. So I'm just going to export it like that. And let's go back to Fusion 360. And in Fusion 360, we're gonna go to insert and we're gonna insert an SVG. And we want to select the top of this headphone holder. And there we have it. It's slightly smaller. But what we can do is grab this point, and if we drag it, we can just make it bigger. So just drag it roughly to where we think is going to be the same size as our stand. I'm just going to try my best to follow these lines and these lines to make sure it's in the middle. There we go. I think that's fine. We can say okay to that. And now let's finish this sketch. And there is our mandala on top of the body. So I'm just gonna make the body disappear. And I want to select everything. And now I want to deselect the things that I don't want to extrude. So I'm gonna hold Control. I'm gonna go to this area, which I don't want to extrude. I'm gonna go to this. I'm gonna go to the big area in the middle. And I'm gonna go to some of these. And we'll see you in a couple of minutes after I deselect everything. Quick note, friends, if you enjoy this kind of practical design projects and they help you out, please take a second to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow and it allows me to make more interesting and useful projects for you. Right, let's get back to the design. That's it, everything is selected. Everything that I want to extrude is selected. So I just want to make my body visible at the moment. And I want to extrude this by, let's say, 1.4 and press enter. Now there it is, there is the mandala. I think that looks really cool. I'm gonna 3D print this in 2 colors and I just want to make a way for it to be hung on the wall. To do that, I'm just gonna create a simple integrated French cleat system. And I'm gonna do that by hiding the body and create a new sketch. And I'm gonna choose the front plane this time. And let's go to the middle. And firstly, I wanna make a 4mm height line. And this is gonna act like as my symmetry line. And I wanna take another line and go from the bottom. And I'm gonna do, let's say, 3mm, and I want to go up to the top of this, so I'm going to go up to there somewhere. I'm going to make a line there, and I want to go back and make a line here so I can create a profile. Now I want to select the mirror option in my sketch, and I'm going to select this line. I'm going to hold shift and select all these 3 lines. And I'm going to use the mirror line, the first line I just made. That's going to give me the other side of this French cleat system. So I'm going to say OK. And now I can just delete that middle line and finish this sketch. Now let's select this profile and make this body visible again. And I want to extrude that profile to the front or the back, doesn't matter, one of them, and say OK. Now I have a little cut here, I have a little notch, and I can go and select this face of this object now and say extrude again, and I'm gonna just go back a bit more just to give myself a bit more space here. Okay, so now what I want to do before I do anything else, I want to push these sides a bit more out, because the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to extrude that cleat system, that French cleat system, and I want to make sure I have some tolerance on it. So I'm just going to use the press pull tool, and I'm just going to press it back by minus 0.5, let's say, and I'm gonna press this one as well by minus 0.5, so minus 0.5, and that's gonna give me a bit of play when I extrude the next thing. So let's go back to our last sketch, and I can extrude this again, and let's extrude it that way first, I'm just gonna go a bit more out because I still have some space here. I don't want to go too much, but just a bit more out. So just, let's say, not join, let's make a new body. Okay, so we have our first body, which is called headphone stand, and we have our second body, which is called branch cleat. That's fine. So let's hide the headphone stand, and we want to make a couple of holes in this so we can hook this to the wall, and we just hang the headphone stand on it. Let's make it very simple for you guys. We're just gonna select the top of this, and we're just gonna create a sketch onto that face. So let's make two very simple circles. I'm just gonna go one at 4 millimeters, and I'm gonna do another one at 4 millimeters. So again, very simple. We're not playing with any major tools, just very simple 4 millimeter circles. Let's finish the sketch, and if we select both of them, we can extrude by minus whatever 50. Go. And let's make a chamfer on both of them. So we're gonna select both ends, and we're gonna chamfer it by just about there. So we just want to make sure that it's enough for the whole screw head that we're using to sink in, and that's about it. And I'm gonna say okay, and I'm very happy with that. So we have the headphone stand, and we have this system to catch it, and I think that would be perfect. So let's separate them. I'm just gonna move this out, and I'm just gonna move it somewhere next to this one. So that's all we need for Fusion 360. Let's export everything and bring them into Bamboo Studio and see what kind of settings we're gonna need. And we're gonna make this top bit into a different color, and I'll show you two methods to do this with your 3D printer. And we can change the color even if we don't have an automatic system. So let's import everything into Bamboo Studio and see what kind of settings we're gonna need. And that's my headphone stand right there. I'm gonna change from P2S to A1. So I'm gonna print everything on my Bamboo Lab A1. Now the slayer height is gonna be fine. I want to change the seam position from aligned to the back, and because I did that, I want to turn this whole stand 100 degrees around. So because the bottom of my stand is facing the front now, and if I turn it by 180 degrees, that's gonna be facing the back. So I've set my seam position to the back, that's in the back, and that's gonna be where the seam position is, and that's gonna be hidden underneath the whole design. Next thing I want to do, I want to change the wall generator from classic to Arachne, and that's because I have a bunch of little dots around here, and I want to be able to print as many of them as I can. And I also have some different line widths around this design, and that's gonna make sure that everything is gonna be printed at a decent quality, let's say. Now let's go to strength, and I want to change the top surface pattern from monotonic to octogram spiral, and that's gonna give me a nice design underneath the mandala, so on the top layer of this stand just before the mandala starts. And I think that's too much infill density. Let's change that to 5 degrees, and I want to change the infill pattern from grid to gyroid, and that's going to give us a pretty solid infill, and I think that's about it. Let's slice it and see how that's going to look like, and next I'm going to show you how to change the colors. So that's at 2 hours and 2 minutes. That looks pretty good. This is, as you can see, the pattern on my top surface, and I think that looks decent. And what else? That's the seam in the back, which also looks good. And yeah, that's it. Let's change the colors. And there's more ways to change the colors, but in Bamboo Studio you just need to go to this timeline of the layers, and then you can drag, or while you have the mouse hover over it, you can just use your scroll wheel and it'll go layer by layer. So I want to go to my very top layer before my mandala starts, so I'm going to find that layer. So not this layer, this layer. And at this layer I'm gonna set a pause. So this is if you don't have automatic changing system. So if you don't have an AMS, you can just add the pause into your timeline and slice that again, and that's gonna slice the pause that you just added. And when the printer prints, when it gets to this layer, it's just gonna pause. You can change the filament to a different color, and you just play again and it'll print the rest of the design. Now this is if you don't have an AMS, or if you use Bamboo Studio. I think Prusa Slicer has the same function, and also Orca Slicer. And if you use Cura for some reason, Cura is a bit more challenging. You have to go to extensions, and if I remember correctly, since I used Cura, you have to insert a pause through a G code, but it's definitely possible in Cura as well. And that's it. You can just send this now, send it to print, and it'll print. It'll stop at this layer, and then it'll print the rest of it. But because I have an AMS, I'm just gonna close that pause there. And I'm just gonna go and right click on that again, and I'm gonna go to change filament. So I'm gonna set this to filament 2. If I slice again, that means that my printer knows to print up to that layer and then automatically change to a different filament and print the rest of it. So let's see how that's gonna look like. And yeah, that looks pretty good. Everything seems to be fine. I think we can just send this to print, and let's see how that's gonna look like. This is it, guys. This is my mandala headphone wall stand printed. I'm really happy with how it turned out. Clean, simple, and it looks great on the wall. And because I made one for my wife, I had to make one for my daughter's headphones as well. And she loves unicorns, so I made one with a unicorn for her. I hope this video helped you in some way, and if you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!